So this is I'm gonna put this video out there. I hope this helps somebody who's targeted. Um, what you're experiencing is essentially a lot of different shit. You're gonna be tortured to death, or you're gonna be tortured into your imprisonment. You more than likely will either die really quickly, or you'll survive being tortured for a period of time until eventually you get tortured to death. And they're gonna make it look like it was done by your own accord. It's going to look like there's no outside influence. Everything they're using and doing is going to be covert, so you're going to have no way of proving what's happening to you. Only people who are aware this happens are the people who do it to people and the people who experience this and are targeted. So they're going to go through a process where they pretty much just study you, figure out everything they can about you, use any piece, and then they're going to take all the information that they acquire in order to try to groom and manipulate you. They're going to subject you to remote neural monitoring, V2K. They're going to subject you to Havana syndrome. You're going to get sick. You're going to get poisoned. You're going to get drugged. It's going to happen over and over and over and over and over again at infinitum the longer you survive your targeting. You're going to lose jobs, you're going to lose friends, you're going to lose family. All kinds of horrible shit's going to happen to you. They're going to try to psychologically scar you in such a way that you appear to be crazy. Towards the end of your targeting, you're going to have such bad PTSD that it's going to be impossible for you to sustain any form of life. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to continuously do things like hack everything you own, break into your house, move shit, steal things from you, steal your prescriptions, whatever, steal your clothes, steal your food, anything they can identify you with. And they're going to use this shit in order to make you look crazy and also to frame you. They're going to try to make it impossible for you to live with all these means. They're going to gang stalk you. They're going to do all that shit. And nobody believes any of this shit is real, so you have no hope. They want you to go to the cops repeatedly, quickly, and or go to doctors or psych wards or mental health outreach. They want you to do this shit over and over and over and over again. So they're going to torture you sufficiently to get you to do these things repeatedly in order to stigmatize you as an insane person and or a criminal, preferably both. They need you to be strung out on drugs, so they'll drug you. If you have a drug history, they're going to use that against you. You're going to look for ways to try to cope with being attacked with remote neural monitoring, with microwave weapons, with Havana syndrome. You're going to be pulsed. You're going to start getting seizures. You're going to have you're going to get burned. They have like fucking hundreds of ways of doing all kinds of different things to you to torture you. They'll put shit that dries your skin out in your lotion or in your like shampoo and body wash. They drug food a lot. Drug any drink that you leave unattended. And just do subtle, innocuous things to drive you crazy. Certain cars will follow you. People will honk at you constantly. They'll pull into your driveway and flash their lights into your house, like their high beams into your house multiple times a night. They'll send people to your house to knock on your windows, like right outside your bedroom window while you sleep. They'll go to your work. They do all kinds of things. They need you constantly on edge. They need you to look paranoid. They're trying to get you to look profiled of somebody with mental illness. You start going to the doctor. You explain to them what's happening to you. You tell them you're experiencing remote neural monitoring. Nobody knows that shit even exists, and nobody believes it if they are aware of the term. So you go to the doctor, you tell them you're hearing voices. You'll probably get put on a hold. The voices will use multiple different narratives that will cycle through in order to manipulate you to do things, and that's mainly what the tool is that they're going to use to fuck you up. It's going to be V2K or remote neural monitoring. They're going to do the other things when the remote neural monitoring does not prove effective. They'll hit you with they'll start pulsing you, hit you with Havana syndrome. They'll start hitting you with microwave weapons. You'll wake up with burns on you, that type of shit. And they do that shit in sparingly, unless you're a high profile target. They do that shit only in order to reinforce that the gang stalking and the V2K is happening to you. They need you to pay attention to it. They need you isolated and alone with very few distractions in order to get you to be receptive to the V2K or the remote neural monitoring. Anybody who knows you will inevitably think that you're insane. and you'll be driven into isolation. You'll be alone, hard to hold jobs, hard to sustain yourself, etc. I'm kind of repeating myself at this point. And at some point, what's going to happen? It'll probably happen to you several times if you manage to live through them. They'll torture you sufficiently with lack of sleep. They can wake you up at any point, all kinds of shit. Just look up electronic harassment, and then and when people say it's a prosecutory belief, which is a delusion that people suffer from. Not true. It's completely real thing that happens to people. So you go into this understanding that you literally have no help. You have less than no help because people won't believe you, and there's like so much information out there to say that what's happening to you isn't real. So they'll torture you, do whatever they can until they can get you to listen to the V2K. The V2K is going to be giving you instructions. It's going to be instructing you to do things. If you don't listen to it, they might give you a glimmer of hope by popping something that has been planted on your skin. It'll pop off you, and that might lead you to believe that there's some scenario in which your targeting will end. The V2K cycles through narratives, popular narratives that have been used. They're mostly derived from what are called CIA torture scripts that the CIA used to use back in the MK Ultra days. You can look them up. There's Jeff and Mutt, Alice in Wonderland. They have really weird names like that because it's a really weird individualized psyop that's being ran on you 24/7 from a disembodied voice that you hear inside your head, playing 24 hours a day nonstop. And it could be anybody's voice. It could be multiple voices. They will clone anybody's voice using VoiceMorph. You can type in VoiceMorph app or on your computer right now, and it'll bring you to a website where if you feed it enough audio, like an amount of audio of somebody's voice, you can replicate that person's voice and then just type in whatever you want it to say. That's readily available to anybody in the world right now. If you want to, go ahead. You can stop this video, look it up. But they usually use your family members' voices to get you to believe that your family is trying to help you, that your family's aware of what's going on. They use this in order to manipulate you. It's easier to be suggested things that you would act on if your family is the one, if you believe your family is the one feeding you the information. So they do that to you. I've heard all kinds of things. In my targeting specifically, I don't have a lot of family, so it was, pretty easy to do. At a certain point, they'll start trying to frame you. They'll leave articles or items that belong to you in certain places. They study your everyday routine and ritual, so they know when to break into your house. They know when not to. Then they usually will try to get you to leave your house at night because it's easier to break in. It's harder for people to notice that something is happening, like a break-in or some shit during the. It's harder to achieve that during the day, so they want you to leave your house at night. They'll do this by telling you people you know are in danger, whatever they have to tell you. Anyways, if they start popping things on you, what they'll do is they'll give you scenario. They'll tell you, do this, and if you render this task, they'll pop a device that's been planted on you. These devices leave behind the same as your skin tone, little like rubber, I don't know, maybe polymer, but it's some type of rubber, some type of maybe even latex or something, like a discharge, probably about yay big. The device itself is incredibly small. It's so small that if you got scanned, it would just look like regular artifacts that would come up on an MRI or X-ray. It's not even really detectable. You can use the smart meter to kind of locate them, but they can be turned off at any point, making it almost useless to use the smart meter. So you really can't do shit. These things are on you. You can't really get them off. What else? So at some point, they're going to try to convince you to go somewhere, and they're going to want you to leave your cell phone, anything like your cell phone off you. They want you to not have your cell phone physically on you. They want you to put it somewhere and then go somewhere where you can't be seen, meaning there's no camera or anything. And from there, they'll start the ritual. I call it the humiliation ritual because it's pretty much where they just give you things to do to make you look crazy. They'll tell you, hey, do this. It'll make you look crazy. Hey, tie your shirt around your head, wave your arms up and down like a jackass in the middle of the street. They're just trying to get you arrested. They want you to look fucking insane, and they want you to do things that they can frame you for by manipulating you into doing stupid shit. They'll tell you to break into cars. They'll tell you to steal things. They'll tell you whatever the fuck they can in order to get you arrested. You'll get arrested. You'll go to jail. You'll continue to hear this, and it won't stop. You'll get out of jail and it'll persist. And they try to do this to you over and over and over and over and over again. The reason they tell you to leave your cell phone is if they haven't already hacked all your devices at this point, which more than likely they already hacked your cell phone, they don't want you to be able to record what's happening, because at this point there's physical gang stalkers in your area that'll drive by you and honk ridiculously, like constantly. People will interact with you. You'll have weird interactions. They'll tell you follow this person. You'll walk up to this person will immediately engage with you. They'll make you aware that they're a gang stalker by feeding you some information that you're hearing through V2K to verify it, in order to reinforce that you do what the person says or whatever, or they're framing you for an act which the other person is already aware and is in on the frame job. And they do all this shit over and over and constantly until they can get you permanently incarcerated. They can get you like put on a medical hold for like indefinitely, like you're not mentally stable, so you're stuck for the rest of your life inside a mental institution. Or they can get you killed. They'll try to tell you, like they've told me in the voice of my family, to jump off of various high things like freeway overpasses and etc. to kill me. They'll try to get you to get into a random person's car, anybody's car. They just need you to have your eyes closed, and for you to look down, you can't actually see the car. And yeah, and the whole time you're targeted, they are literally establishing it's a frame-up job. It's a frame-up job, or it's a murder, and they're figuring it out as they go. They've done this to fucking millions of people. It happens all the time. There's people in prison right now that have experienced it. There's people in prison this has happened to them to the point that they convinced the person to shoot people. A lot of mass shootings happen this way. All kinds of crime happen this way. This is used for human trafficking. It's fucking horrible. Anyways, they'll try to gaslight you into believing shit that isn't true in order to make you hypomanic and respond to it. Currently right now they want me to go someplace without my cell phone. They want me to be someplace that I don't know where I'm at, so I have no idea where I'm at. And they just want me to listen to them and follow to them. They're trying to use the voice of my family members to get me to believe that. And they use false positives in order to reinforce the narrative that they're telling you, in order to make it seem more realistic, which it's not. And so at some point, what will inevitably happen to me is one of these three things will happen to me, right? I can continue to try to ignore it and persist, but my life will consistently fall apart over and over again. Whatever life I build up will fall apart. They'll poison me, they'll drug me, they'll hit me with some kind of direct energy weapon that puts me in a coma. They'll just torture me relentlessly until I get with the program and do what they say. They keep telling me I'm gonna go to prison or I'm gonna die or whatever, and I can't do anything about it. Like, if you try to report this crime, you just look insane, and it just speeds up the process. If you try to get mental health help with this, you just look insane, and it speeds up the process. Anything that you actively do to try to better your situation or try to navigate this is actually there's nothing you can do. If you talk about it, you look insane. It perpetuates you looking crazy. You're easier to frame, or it'll push people away from you, push you closer in isolation. The less things you have physically going on in your life, or the less things you can use to distract yourself, the more likely you are to take suggestion from the disembodied voice that is remote neural monitoring, or V2K. It's almost never your family. When you hear their voice, it's almost never your family. In very rare circumstances, I imagine it would be. People say it's the FBI, they say it's InfraGard, they say it's the CIA. CIA clearly has access to this and does this to people very clearly. People from the CIA, like Robert Duncan, has spoken out. He, in the early 2000s, he worked on this device, worked on parts of this technology that was compartmentalized. So the people working on it had no idea they were working on something that would be used in this way. And that's kind of a lot of information. My best advice to anybody going through this would be to constantly be around people, constantly be engaging and interacting with people. That's the best way to ensure that you can be mentally stable enough to continue and distract yourself from it. It constantly wants you in fear. You're more suggestive when you're fearful. And it constantly wants you in pain. So that way, you get with the program quicker, you do what it says. I imagine the gang stalkers are people who are being V2K'd or remote neural monitored. That way, it'd be like impossible for anybody to be held accountable for doing this, and they would know, only what they needed to know. They wouldn't have any information that would actually be relevant in finding the people doing this. And this is really clear, like really well thought out. It's insanely in depth, insanely complicated, and it took probably trillions of dollars to establish this. Um, so yeah, I mean, all those things would point to people believing it was the government doing this. In my scenario, the people doing this to me weren't necessarily poor, but they weren't like ultra rich. They were well off, and I think they just had access to this. They probably just knew people who worked in this, and the people doing it to me, one of the people is this is what they do professionally. I guess they say they work for security firms. Um, yeah, it's pretty fucked. If this happens to you, you're kind of on borrowed time. Realistically, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna be tortured until you get with the program and do whatever the fuck they say. They'll frame you, they'll murder you, they'll do whatever the fuck they have to do. You're not gonna get a way out of it. There's not gonna be a device you could buy or a distance you can move that's gonna stop this from happening to you. This happens to people all the time. They'll leave the country, they'll still experience the same symptoms. So the network of people who do this is worldwide, and they're very adept, and they're very and they have a lot of resources when it comes to doing this. What I recommend to anybody doing this is if you're trying to get out of the pain of it, I would recommend the obvious option, and or just getting with the program and joining. If you want to see your family and you want to continue to live your life, you're probably going to become a unwilling participant in this. Not an unwilling participant, but an unwilling supporter, because anyone this happens to is definitely an unwilling participant. Um, yeah. So what they want me to do is they want me to go somewhere without having a cell phone on me. I think the current phone I'm having, there's a low probability